I just think it's been a really interesting year where they've made it clearer than ever, like the causes that they really want to focus on. And when we were in South Africa, Prince William very clearly made the point. He's going to do royal with a small r, and he wants to do stuff that's going to have impact. So this year for him, of course, it's been about homelessness, mental health. For Catherine, for the things that she has done, it's still continued to be about early years and the family. For Queen Camilla, it's been about domestic violence. And for the King, look, he spent his birthday talking about food waste and food poverty. And for me, I just see this as a really interesting step change almost for the royal family. It's no longer ribbon cutting or plaque unveiling. It's about making impact on some really...
That's the word
I know. Honestly, I know.
It is true, though. We can now see that there is actually impact, particularly the Coronation Food Project. You know, he wasn't cutting a ribbon to a supermarket. He was actually using his birthday and his coronation to have this horrible word impact.
To go and see a giant freezer. Yeah. That's basically what he spent his birthday doing. Yeah. And he was so excited about it because he genuinely can see these two massive social issues, food waste, food poverty, and he was like, we need to do something about it. And I just think we now have a monarchy that is more socially engaged than ever. And actually, if you look back to the general election, where they actually had to put out a statement and say, well, we've got to rearrange a few things because there's political campaigning going on. I was like, hang on a minute, you're actually holding your hands up and sort of telling us that stuff that you're doing is a little bit politically engaged now. That's really but it's all about making, genuinely trying to make a difference to people, I think.
Because that was one of the ones with Northern Ireland, which was the the homelessness, and that they're saying, we're not, the homelessness campaign that William's running isn't political, it's, it runs by the side of politics, But it's interesting that was one of the ones that they called off it, and William then since went back to Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I don't think they were happy. They weren't happy about
William's
that.
William's been doing that for a long while, so, I mean, it's not just started. I mean, he's been doing it for a long while. Yeah. And, I mean, back to his mother, when she took William and Harry down to the shelters and saw that homeless people live, the privilege that they have, and they see how other people have to survive. So William, it's probably resonated with all this time, and Harry's doing it himself, and I think it's impressive.
It shouldn't be political, really, should it? Just an aside, like getting people off the streets.
Well, they shouldn't be, should they? But I think now, like the engagement this year that really stood out to me was in St James's Palace. We knew that Idris Elba was going to be with the King, so it's going to be quite a fun engagement. Talking about knife crime, though, the horrors of knife crime, and then all of a sudden, Keir Starmer turns up. And then you have Lisa Nandy and Yvette Cooper. It was like he was sitting around the table with half the cabinet. And I was like, hang on a minute. Yeah. This is our monarch sitting down, specifically saying to Lisa Nandy, well, I'm going to watch your progress on knife crime. We wouldn't have seen that from Queen Elizabeth II, would we?
No.
You mentioned about the Qatari state visit. We're going to see the Princess of Wales. She'll be there at Horse Parade, but she won't be at the state banquet, which is fair enough. It's a late night.
Do you know what? Just think about you boys don't have to think about it. The fuss of putting on a tiara and getting all dressed up in the evening. I can see why she'd rather stay. This time of year, why do you want to go out in the dark?
The state visit obviously brings the idea that, we're opening our arms to Qatar. OK, they're, diplomatically and internationally, and they're friends with the UK. Donald Trump's just come in, obviously, or he's going to officially be inaugurated in January. He's already had a state visit. Do you think there is scope for the King to have another Donald Trump state visit in the UK when he becomes president?
I think so. Why not? I mean, he loves it here. He loved our late Queen. He mentioned it many times. And the fact that his mother was from Scotland, I suppose he may well do that. And he's got a couple of golf courses here, of course.
But state visits, they are literally seen as kind of the biggest diplomatic pat on the back that the UK can give to anybody, which is why, I think as soon as we have an inauguration for President Trump, the chatter will be about when's he coming over for a state visit.
Yeah. It's already started. I've started it now. I wondered whether
you're ahead of the game.
Running. Or the King could go to the United States.
But I thought, that video that's been doing the rounds of Donald Trump on a plane looking at that picture book that he's got of him meeting various members of the royal family, the kind of thing that you'd do for your relatives of your year of pictures. Look, don't forget, the royal family is just an amazing gift for our government in terms of kind of maintaining that most important of relationships. And look, whatever people think about Donald Trump, he did seem to get on pretty well with the then Prince Charles, despite their very kind of different views on the climate.
That's right.
And it's about the office, isn't it? It's not about the man. Whatever you think about Donald Trump, he is now in that office. Like, the people of America have voted him in.
He was elected. Yeah, I mean, he's elected representative. I mean, yes, I agree with you, Rhiannon. You know, if he comes here, we've got to give him a welcome.
Yeah.
But as you say, there'll be protests then, won't there? There'll always be some protests. Whoever comes, you know, there's always someone don't like somebody. But, you know, I think that's because we live in a country where you can protest. If it was in Russia, you protest, you go to prison. So it's a great country to live in, this one.
Now, Arthur, have you ever heard of the Spencer stare? Have you ever been treated or given the Spencer stare? Do you know what it is?
Well,
many
times by Diana. and of course William, because
so the Spencer stare, for anyone
it is a thing.
When she looks up at you like this,
when they look down there. And,
I can tell you, you always know that William's the Diana, because you see Diana in every time, because he blushes like her as well. He has that sort of pink blush, and he looks up like that. And I've seen it in William, obviously, a lot, but I've not seen it in the children. Although I'm told that, you know, some people say that Charlotte has a bit of a stare.
Apparently, this is what people are looking at photographs, and they're saying that there is a similarity, an uncanny. Of course, there's going to be a similarity.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
There's an uncanny similarity between the way that Princess Diana, the late Princess Diana, William, and Princess Charlotte, the way that they execute this Spencer stare.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think
you would hope that there were family similarities.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But definitely William. I mean, God, he's just when he was a young lad, when he was uncertain, you know, when he was uncertain what he was going to do, you got that Windsor stare, that look like that under, and you just saw he was just, oh God, you can see Diana then.
Well, it's not just the stare. There's a tilt of the head with
tilt
William.
of the head.
Yeah, it's a specific look, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a kind of posture and the kind of way that he kind of looks. Maybe because he's so tall, like Diana was, maybe. But there's a kind of tilt at the head.
Tall guy,
that reminds me of Diana. I feel he looks more like Diana than Harry does, for instance. I think because he's got that kind of posture and stare. Or the Spencer stare. Right, thanks, guys. So we've got a little bit of time now for our quick-fire questions, if you are all ready. OK, right. So this is for both of you, OK? If the tables were turned and it was you being interviewed by them, which royal would you most like to be interviewed by, and which would you most least like to be interviewed by?
Oh, I'd like to be interviewed by Camilla. And the least likely, probably Princess Anne. I think she had a lot of time for the media, so I think she would be pretty brutal. But the Queen, I think, our lovely Queen Camilla, I think I'd like to be interviewed by her. She's a kind person, yeah. I want her to treat me kindly.
I think we could try and make that happen.
Well,
we can make some calls and make that happen.
Yeah.
It's got to happen.
I think so, yeah.
And Rhiannon, which royals would get their own back on you, do you think?
Okay, well, probably all of them. Well, do you know what? Let's go with the less obvious, though. Do you know who I'd like to be interviewed by? Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. Just because I think she's a good egg. I think she'd get the best out of me. Isn't that what you should do, is get the best out of your interviewee? So I think,
Well, that's true.
Good. Well, I hope I've got the best out of you today.